Wow. Wait, damn, Nick, you're spoiling all this great material for the show. God damn it. Tim, roll the fucking tape.
Welcome to episode 20 of the Migtown podcast, the only weekly source for the Supreme Alpha Chad Dad himself. As always, I'm producer Tim. Joining me is the mayor of Migtown himself, Drexel. Say hi.
What's up, everybody?
And also joining us today, the legendary sidekick of the Rekieta Law Show, Nick Rekieta himself.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Great gift to start this episode.
What do you want? What do you want from me?
How many times have we heard that line? Remember, you and I were in screenwriting together, and
Yeah.
we mentioned how many times "What do you want from me" has been in a movie. It's the most overused line in movie history.
Yeah, well, what do you want from me? I'm not giving.
What do you want
anything
from me?
What do you want me to do?
I didn't do anything. So
I wanted to, Drexel, we made it to 20 episodes.
I know. I thought we would have gotten yeeted by now. I don't think I've gotten any strikes yet.
Apparently Susan is waiting for you. She's sitting on her couch right now. Pleasuring herself.
With a
waiting for you.
fist-shaped dildo. It's been a wild time. Before we hit the record button, we were talking about what has been happening here in our good old state of Minnesota, where it's become a total leftist anarchist shit show. And Nick has something interesting to tell about some of the things that some of the great creatures he's seen, both white and black. So Nick, I mean, what have you seen, man? What are you seeing?
So, I'm watching on the first day. We'll call it Taser Day. I'm watching Taser Day down at Brooklyn Center, and I'm watching some weirdo's YouTube live stream of the thing, and it's pretty mundane for the most part, right? There's some chanting, there's some guy holding the same beat on a drum for, I kid you not, 2 hours. And he's just sitting there holding that beat down. It's the war drum. Then, the cops were actually pretty lenient. The curfew was 7:00, and they waited until about 8:15 before they really started trying to disperse the crowd. And eventually the crowd started getting pissed off at getting shot by rubber bullets and the little pepper spray pellets. So they started throwing stuff at the cops. And you know how well that goes. Suddenly the fireworks come out and the flashbangs and the tear gas, and the crowd gets dispersed. Well, then the cops form this like big ass line that it crosses the whole block, and there's not more than 6 inches between each cop. So, I mean, we're talking building to building on a city block. And they move the protesters like one Spartan step at a time. They're sitting there going, move.
Good. I know what you wanted to say, Nick. What did you want to say? You go ahead and say it.
No, you say it.
Move, bitch. Get out the way. Dude.
Look, so they're there, and dudes are getting right up in their faces. These guys are decked out. They got the sticks and everything. Guys are right in their faces. And of course, like, they're just moving them back, right? One push at a time. But it was largely pretty uneventful. But they would occasionally run out and snatch someone and pull them behind the lines like, oh, your ass got arrested. That was stupid. So then
Mostly peaceful bricks.
they eventually get to a gas station that I know you and I need to go to called the Pump and Munch.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Oh God!
Yeah.
What a
there.
horrible name for a gas station.
They get to the Pump and Munch, and then the cops kind of stop for a while, and they like kick everybody across the road, and this guy is standing there next to this girl screaming, "No justice, no peace, prosecute the police," right? And she starts screaming all of these different things about how y'all killing our people, y'all be out here shooting our people. We gonna rise up. We gonna get you. And then she turns around and she is the whitest chick I've ever seen. Like blonde, white. I think you'd be into her, man. I think
What is that supposed to mean?
look, I think she's a premium target. That's all I'm saying.
She needs her back blown out as
Wait,
well.
hold on. So Nick, are you saying she could wind up in a Piper Perry scene? Is she meme worthy?
Look, yeah, I think so. And I'm just saying, the door was open. That's all. Look, for you, probably. I don't know about anybody else, but I think if you showed up, she would be obligated based on her particular stance to at least talk to you. That's what I'll say.
I got some reparations dick for. Oh yeah.
Look, so she's going off, and then she starts screaming at the police, and she says, "Y'all buildings have life insurance, our people don't." And I was like, actually, though, it's the opposite, because buildings don't have life insurance, for one thing, because they're not alive. But two, the building insurance typically doesn't cover riot damage. And then the opposite is typically true, because people do have health insurance and do have life insurance, generally speaking. But that was just a minor quibble. And then while she's yelling at the camera, her very charming thoughts, this black lady comes out and she screams that, look, if you can suck a black dick, you need to be down here on this line. You need to be down on the line right now.
That's clean shit.
There she is in the chat.
That chick? Oh. That is the whitest white chick I've ever seen.
I mean,
she looks like Eminem with a gender swap filter.
Pretty much.
We were trying to get the streamer to get her digits because he's sitting there talking to her, and she's like, "Oh, my friend just texted me right now, says they're watching me live on your show." And I was like, "Dude, you're in. You are in." But I think he was a little too white to get it. And then there's the if you can suck a black dick chick right there.
That's great.
It was. Yeah. And then okay, so wait a minute. So let me set this stage for you, Drex. White girl comes out and says all this stuff.
Yep.
Black lady gives her beautiful soliloquy about, if you can suck a black dick, get down here. Who is the next person to make an appearance on camera?
It better not be a dude, man. You better not say
it is a dude with the thickest lisp you have ever heard in your life coming like I'm not kidding. I wish I could play the audio for you.
How bad? Wait, hold on. Was he moist?
You know exactly how he sounded. He sounded like he had experience with dick in his mouth in the past 20 seconds. There's his picture. Your Discord's coming
Look at
through,
that
man.
neck. Holy shit.
And he's
like rubber neck.
He is out there. It was phenomenal. It's like, you have probably eaten dick in the past 20 minutes.
19.
But it couldn't have happened more perfectly than that, in my opinion. Like, it was premium comedy, man. I was dying. I'm like crying on stream. I was laughing so hard.
Dude, I'm crying on stream because there are still female cops on the force anywhere. They're fucking useless.
Did you see? Are you familiar with a guy named Sam Hyde?
That sounds. God, why does that sound kind of familiar?
You know, every time there's a mass shooting, people post a picture of Sam Hyde, like Photoshop him in to the shooting and say he can't keep getting away with it, to the point where the FBI's even called him or whatever. On his show the other day, this is like a month ago, he said, look, if you get pulled over by a female cop, man, I hope you have a bulletproof vest on. You better be loaded up like you're in PUBG, because I promise you, she's going to think her taser or her gun is her taser, and you're going to die. She's going to shoot you with bullets thinking she's tasing you. He nailed it. It was so like, oh man.
Where do they find these fucking people?
She's a 26-year veteran of the police force.
Yeah, I did read that. She actually looked kind of young. She had, either the wall has been kind to her, or she got on the force relatively young, or sometimes you just get good genes. But
she was also a death jockey, so she didn't have like the hard life, the hard knock life.
Okay, is that what it was? She wasn't like a true beat cop.
Yeah, she'd only been on like active police duty for like a year.
Oh,
So
okay,
she had
gotcha. So
spent
that
25 years behind a desk.
it showed when she, shot somebody because she thought what, Nick? The taser was, or the Glock 9 was a taser, right? Because that makes
Yeah,
sense.
Now wait a
it's on
second. The
the
tasers that the Minneapolis Police Department, or what was that, the MNP?
no, it was Brooklyn Center, but
Brooklyn
But
Center.
same difference, same difference.
probably same equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does the taser look similar to a Glock 9 handgun?
No,
No, but they can
No.
feel similar.
Sure, they feel similar.
The handle. Yeah. But here's the thing.
Yeah, they both have a pistol grip. That's the end of their similarities.
Correct. But here's the problem. Let me ask you this, Nick. Did she shoot multiple times?
No, just one shot.
Just one shot? Okay.
Yeah, she
right.
actually, like, I genuinely believe that she had no malice about the action. She's literally just stupid.
Yeah.
Because so your firearm is on your right hip for most cops. And
Yep.
then so you reach back and draw it. The taser is a cross draw on the left hip. So it's the opposite way. So you reach across your body and then your hand is right on it. So you're not supposed to draw it left-handed, still right-handed, but it's a completely different motion. And so, actually in the video, you can see the other cop's taser, but it's a yellow, like school bus yellow polymer handle. Now, the thing about a Glock 9 is it is significantly heavier than the taser and it has a different handle feel. However, they're both polymer. So the actual texture of the material is similar, but the weight and everything else and the width of the handle and everything is way different.
Like, you're supposed to sight your firearm before you squeeze a round off, right? Like, you think she'd notice that her gun sight was yellow?
She's firing based on where the body cam hangs down around the sternum. And so based on where that body cam is, I don't think she even saw what was in her hand. She clearly does not sight the weapon. She fires from like a foot away at most. She's not missing.
God, why would you ever pull the trigger on anything like that in that
yeah.
position?
And she had plenty of time. Like she could have backed off and lined up a shot. Well, I mean, I guess if she was thinking she was firing a gun.
There's a struggle with another officer there, right?
Yeah. It's
so
kind of in front of her.
So if you're hip firing your firearm, you're just going to shoot your... Why?
But remember, she was hip firing her taser and her delusion.
Yeah, and if you hit the cop, if you hit your partner who's struggling with the bad guy, now you've got a real problem on your hands.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just saw this news. One of the bachelors from the Bachelor show came out as gay.
It had to be the black dude, right?
No.
Because he was a real suspect with his whole like best friend, so it wasn't him.
Colton Underwood is the guy.
Let me see this dude. Colton Underwood?
Yeah.
He's Underwood, huh? All right. Colton, all right. It's very apropos.
So what is the case? Drexel, you're looking that up.
Yeah.
What do you think the likelihood of getting the conviction on her for the wrongful death? What's she, second man?
Very
Manslaughter
little.
2?
Manslaughter 2 is the charge. I don't know, man.
Like hip firing anything with a trigger. Hip firing. God, that is a gross. That has to be gross negligence.
I don't know if it's enough. Honestly, I really don't. And the chick who did this back in 2019 in a different state, they dropped the charges on her. Obviously
White women don't go to jail, man.
Well, this has the race element in it and the protests and all of that stuff, so it's a little bit different. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know if they will have the ability to stick a charge on her because for culpable negligence, which is the criminal negligence for manslaughter 2, you have to create a situation like imminently dangerous, and you have to act in a way that a reasonable person would expect would cause death or serious bodily harm. I don't know that she creates the situation because the guy is trying to flee a felony warrant. Here's the real nasty part of this is if she had pulled her gun, she likely would be justified in shooting him. He was trying to flee an arrest. He was getting into a vehicle. after resisting an arrest with a police officer, it's very possible that would have been a justified shot anyway. But because
True.
she tried to pull the taser, it makes it really weird.
True. Now, I mean, did she create a situation? Did she create the situation by making the decision to pull the trigger from a hip fire position? I mean, that is so far outside of the bounds of your training.
I don't know, not really. Cause like she's firing a taser within like a foot of a person, and she was on mark. Like she was in her mind, like she was gonna hit him with that taser. 100%
don't hip fire
accuracy.
tasers either. I don't know how many taser videos you've seen. I've never seen someone hip fire a taser before, especially if you have someone else in the vicinity. Like, that is such a negligent shot to take, taser or firearm.
There, like, when you haven't watched the video, I'm guessing.
No, I haven't actually.
No.
Yeah, you got to take a look at it, because you're categorizing it as a hip fire because she's firing without like sighting down with a full extended arm, but it's not like that gun was in danger of hitting anyone else. I mean, it was aimed. She just wasn't looking down at it. It's out in front of her, and it's the reason she's not firing it like she's firing a gun is because she wasn't firing a gun. I mean, it's in her mind, which is not correct, but it's also, it explains exactly how she's making that thing go off. And I don't know if they're going to get the charge to stick. I don't know if they're going to get the charge to stick at all, but
Okay.
it's a really unfortunate situation, that's for sure. But there's a lot of mitigating factors there. Like I said, if she had intentionally shot him, she may have been justified in doing that. And that'll probably be part of the defense.
If she gets away with this, I mean, next time I shoot someone, I'm just going to yell taser, taser, taser ahead of time. I'll have a huge ass 12 gauge in my hands and just be like, oh, I thought it was my taser. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you got two things going against you. One, you're a man, and two, you're not an officer of the law. Those two combined biases are gonna really probably help her out a lot.
Dude, white women don't go to, if you're a white female cop and you have any level of attraction, it is literally impossible for you to wind up serving time. It can't happen. Cannot happen.
Say she's attractive.
No, here's the thing. She doesn't look like a fucking troll. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't look like a damn gremlin.
I mean, Dante probably would hit that.
Did you see the other small world story about this? George Floyd's girlfriend was Dante Wright's teacher.
Oh, Jesus.
You can't make this shit up.
God damn.
Drex, did you find out about that Colton Underwood guy?
Yeah, I just looked it up. Yeah, he's he looked moist, man. Come on. I actually thought it was gonna be the black dude, the most recent Bachelor, who is extremely moist. I don't know. Alex Jones was right about what they're putting in these chemicals in the water, man. These dudes are getting gay as fuck out here in these streets, man. I'm just telling you.
Look at how men used to look in America. Hold on. I got this. Let me get this. Here we go.
Dude, go pull up a picture of like Charles Bronson. Like, look at that face.
No.
Look at these dudes.
Look at this old ass Supreme Court. Look at the Chief Justice in the center. He looks permanently pissed.
He looks pissed all day. And then you got these modern dudes out here, soy boys, fucking soft faces, weak wrists, bitch made voice. Like, come on, man. Like,
actually, look at the dude in the top right. He looks like he just murdered 3 people and ate them.
He actually did, though, literally. Well, I mean, here's the thing, though, Nick. We're looking at all of this this social unrest and everything, and I think you had just gotten back from Florida. Hopefully, you guys didn't have the curfew. I kid you not. My brother came to pick me up from the airport, right? So I just got back from a trip. He picks me up. I'm barely in the car 5 minutes when my phone buzzes, and I'm thinking it's an Amber Alert, right? And I'm like, what the hell? Did a kid get kidnapped? No, it's a curfew. I'm like, what curfew? So I just ignored it, right? It was about 5. It was about 5:45, and I saw this, and I just ignored it, right?
Yeah.
Then I did a show with Miss Lore, got done, and it was like, well, it's time for me to go get some food. I'm starving. I hop
Whoops.
in the car, go out, Nick, everything's closed. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why is everything closed? Then one of our own friends of the show here, Bird Girl, who lives in Minneapolis, tells me, "Oh, you didn't hear? Another guy got shot." And this was obviously the Dante Wright thing, right? And then
Yeah.
she proceeds to tell me how the counties that got shut down, blah blah blah. Nick, I'm looking at these people like I'm nowhere near where this shit happened, right?
Yeah, that's you're it's weird because you're not that far distance wise, but as far as where the cities are to where you are, especially Brooklyn Center, it's an unfathomable distance.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
if you
correct.
wanted to go to Brooklyn Center, it's a trip. Like you're going up there for the day. You're not just taking
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
jaunt.
yeah. You aren't going there just to be like, oh, I'm just going to Brooklyn Center real quick. Like, no, no, you're gonna be sitting there like, oh, do I have anything else to do in that area? Is it, how long is it a cookout? What are we doing? Because I'm not going to Brooklyn Center just to go to Brooklyn Center to get something, turn around and come back. No, that's a day trip. So
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes to an hour of
yeah, and
driving.
yet here we are shut down. And here's the thing though,
Well, they
Nick.
might have marched all the way to your place.
Oh,
That
of
was
course.
probably what's gonna
Specifically his
happen.
address. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, rioters need their backs blown out too.
Well, here's the thing that makes me laugh about this whole thing. Nick and I talked about the winner of the 2020 election was the media, right? And Nick, what is your take on the media and like how they're being exposed in various ways and what they're choosing to cover and not cover during both the Floyd? Like, we'll stick to the Floyd case because that's what's going on now, and we have more details that are emerging. But what is your take, Nick, on just the media's perception when they started off with basically unarmed black guy, something about a $20 bill, cop with a knee on the neck, compared to where we're at right now?
Yeah, well now, I mean that narrative is largely held, um, in some respects with sort of the mainstream media, but they're willing to acknowledge that there was a struggle going on and stuff like that. That it's a little more complicated, but they're all now focused on the. It's amazing actually watching the left media versus the right media in covering the Chauvin trial. Because I don't give a shit about this guy. I don't care. If he goes to jail, he goes to jail. If he doesn't, he doesn't. So I'm just kind of watching it. And I can see the case in which he's guilty, and I can also see a jury acquitting him. I can see both. Like I don't think it's that obvious either way, and I think a jury is prone to go both ways on this. So as I'm watching like people cover this story, I'm noticing like the selection bias they have in covering the parts of the testimony. Like if you watch left-leaning news, I mean, you're just going to hear how good really the experts were for the state, because they were really, really devastating. But if you watch the right-wing news coverage of it, you're going to now see like the use of force expert who's a cop say that Chauvin was justified in his use of force, and then you're going to see the other editor or the medical examiner for the defense say that, oh no, he died from a combination of a heart attack complicated by the drugs and the exhaust pipe of the car. And it's like people are thinking that that guy is giving testimony that the jury finds credible, and I don't think that the jury actually will be finding that credible. So I wonder how these like little information bubbles that people are in are
Mhm.
going to impact their perception of the verdict. Because I think there's a real good chance that they nail Chauvin with at least one of the charges. And I think people on the right are like, nope, he's innocent. It's fine. Yeah, he's completely justified, and they have reasonable doubt. And it's like reasonable doubt and doubt are two different things.
Yep.
And I don't know that a jury is going to find reasonable doubt in this case. And I think the people on the right are going to really have a hard time with that. And they're going to say that, well, it's because he couldn't get a fair trial and all this stuff. But I don't know, man. The medical experts that the state brought were really, really good. And so far, the experts that the defense has called have not been very good. And I think that that's a big problem.
We talked about this in a live chat Wednesday in your server, but it looks like Eric Nelson is going to play the "This was within Chauvin's training" right? Because there's two things you need to prove in order to get the guilt on this charge and get him out of the, well, he was doing his job as a cop. You have to prove that what he did was so far beyond his training and what a reasonable person would do in that circumstance to have qualified for negligence, right? To a reckless disregard for Floyd's safety.
Well, you got a couple different things. For murder 2, you got to prove that he assaulted George Floyd, which means that he used excessive force, not a justifiable use of force by a police officer, that he used excessive force. I think that's a really, really hard thing for the jury, who's going to be looking at a guy who's actively resisting, watching him die is a nasty affair. But if you're looking at the initial part where Chauvin puts his knee on Floyd, whether it be his back, his neck, I don't want to quibble over details. It doesn't really matter. When he does that, I think a jury can certainly find that that was a justifiable use of force. And so if they find that justified, then the assault won't stick. Then the murder won't stick for murder 2. So then you got murder 3, which is the reckless disregard that you're talking about. And if they only stick a murder 3 charge, Chauvin has a real good chance of winning that on appeal and getting out. So I don't know about that one. That's a weird one. That's where you with reckless disregard for human life, create a system or a situation so inherently dangerous to others that it causes the death of someone else. Maybe that's the case. I think the other one. Thank Christ.
For those who are listening, someone has done a Photoshop of the monk putting his head on Floyd's neck.
If you are listening to this and not a member of the premium chat, you need to up your Patreon or whatever and get in there.
Thank you so much for the shill, Nick. We did not pay Nick to say that.
No, you will though. No, but the last one, and this is where I have kind of the outside theory amongst my law YouTuber peers on this, but this is where my gut is taking me. I think they actually acquit Chauvin on murder 2 and murder 3, but I think they nail him on manslaughter 2, because I think they basically get to the point where once he is restrained, once you're restrained, the police officers have a duty of care to you that they don't otherwise have. And that duty of care was clearly breached when the guy says he doesn't have a pulse, and then Chauvin stays on his neck for another neck back. It really doesn't matter at this point, because we're not talking about the act of causing the death through mechanical asphyxiation or anything like that. We're talking about the fact that the police officers have a duty to render aid to someone who is handcuffed, and they didn't do it. And that could have been the negligent act, the culpable negligent act that causes their death.
Counterpoint, because Eric Nelson went after the paramedic for this. They didn't render aid on scene either. Because of the crowd, the paramedic testified it was just too dangerous to do aid there. They were going to do it in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. Is that going to factor?
I mean, it might, but there's a difference between not rendering aid and then creating the situation in which aid is required and then not rendering it. Those are two different things. And so sure. Chauvin and the other cops, by restraining Floyd, they enter into this duty of care that doesn't otherwise exist. A paramedic doesn't actually have a duty to render aid to you. That's a weird thing to think, but they don't, right? And they can't, because what if they get to a scene and they don't save your life, you can't sue a paramedic. That would be a bad system that we can't have. So they don't have that duty. But once the cops who have restrained him and put him in handcuffs actually do have a duty of care at that point. So I think we get to this weird place where they say, you know what? We think that maybe his actions are justified up to the point where he doesn't render the aid that he should have, and he gets tagged on manslaughter too. I think they have the legal argument for either a conviction or an acquittal on any of the charges. Like, I really think it could go either way at this point. It's just a matter of what the jury determines to be. Yeah.
Well, and if that's the case, if like, would you say you are equally confident the jury could go either way? Or is there one side that's more likely the jury's going to go?
I haven't seen enough of the trial to make a full on like determination, but you can't. Like you can't
let's
with
say
the jury.
it's 50-50 then, right? The jury could go either way, equal
Yeah,
amounts.
I have no position on where the jury's going to lean on this. I think that Eric Nelson has done a very, very good job in trying to raise doubt on all of the major issues, even on the negligence issue, because I've heard him subtly hit that negligence issue for manslaughter too. He's focused mostly on the murder too, but in his cross exam, he was really good at making sure to cover out the negligence too. So he's doing a great job as a defense attorney. He's got a really bad set of facts with a video attached to it that he has to go through.
Oh no, I agree. He's been doing a stellar job. Like I want him to if I get into trouble in Minnesota, I want him to defend me.
I would hire him. I'd hire him in a heartbeat. One more heartbeat than Floyd will ever get.
Oh boy.
Savage. Have you ever talked to Nelson Nick in person?
No, I've never talked to him. I'll reach out to him when the trial's over, and see if he'd be interested in talking about anything. I'm probably not going to get a reply, but I'm going to reach out to him anyway, because I think it'd be really interesting to get his take on, how he approached the case and what he thinks about these types of cases, and to kind of talk strategy, even if he won't talk specifically about Chauvin's case. Like, what is the strategy in the environment that we're in, where everything is a news story and a headline, and having to manage that. But
that's always been tough, right? Because Nick, we've seen this with other cases, right? OJ trial, Casey Anthony trial, Jodi Arias trial. Like we've seen these things that the media sensationalizes, right? And people pick a side, and you guys like you and I, we're always like this. Show me the facts, right? Like show me like a full. Let's lay everything out on the table and then dissect piece by piece. But you and I know this, Nick. Most people just go like this. I feel this way, therefore my narrative has to fit. Anything that's outside of my narrative, I'm going to ignore. That's what most people do. Oh no, it doesn't matter. Like even if we've seen that with I'll tell you what, Tim, we've seen that with Me Too cases, right? If you are pro Me Too, right? Let's say you are hardcore pro Me Too.
Oh yeah, this person's believable. This is the story with more holes than Swiss cheese. Oh, totally believable.
Yep, and then someone proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that this story is BS, and then the person's still like,
"System's corrupt.
He did it." Yeah, and you're sitting there looking like, "Come on, man." And speaking of Me Too, Nick, before the show started, I mentioned about what happened. Jake Paul allegedly was accused. He's been accused. He's got Me Too now. So Nick, if you were the lawyer for, it doesn't matter, Jake Paul or the next guy, what would be your legal strategy to any guy out there who's getting Me Too'd?
I think it's going to depend a lot on who the person is. I mean, Jake Paul needs to take the Bieber approach. If Jake Paul is actually accused, I don't know if he actually is or whatever, or whichever one it may be. Bieber got fake accused, right? And he went full offense. He leveraged his social media presence. He got lawyers. He went right after his accusers, and he shut that down immediately. And I think that is something you've got to do if you've got a platform today. I mean, the lawyer wisdom of old is don't say anything. And now, man, I think it's say as much as you can and leverage and rally that support as much as you possibly can early on. Paint your false accuser as a false accuser, clarify it, and try and get their names. You cannot be worried about like the sensitive aspect of this and say, oh, well, I don't want to come across as a bully, because it's your life, right? That's on the line at this point. If you're not a public person though, I don't think it's the same approach, because I don't think that you'll get the support. It may benefit you to follow that old advice and stay quiet. But I also don't think the one thing that needs to not happen ever again from anyone Me Too'd, and Cuomo needs to learn this shit too, even though I don't like him, but is you cannot come out and make some apology, either a halfway apology, a full way apology, or say, I'm sorry that someone's feelings were hurt. No, no, no. You are not sorry for anything at all because you didn't do anything wrong. And people need to stop coming out with those old PR strategy apologies. They don't work. They're
Not at
bad.
all.
Vic Mignogna, and you're referencing Vic Mignogna too, aren't you?
Yeah, because when I saw
Because that apology
Cuomo's,
hurt him more.
yeah, when I saw Cuomo's speech, his apology speech, I said this sounds exactly like how Vic Mignogna's apology read, and I was never Vic's lawyer. That was never that was not something that was run by me. If it was run by me, I would have said, don't ever make any statement like this, please, dear God. But that's just not the thing you need to do in the situation, because you are falsely accused. You have nothing to apologize for. And you certainly don't want to go apologizing for other things that you're not accused of as like some sort of shield for the things you are accused of. If you make any statement at all, and like I said, if you're a public person, I think you do, you say, this is categorically false. None of this is true. This is ridiculous. I'll be fighting this, at full bore, because this is not who I am. None of these, this is unsupported by any facts. Whatever you need to do, deny everything about it. Because again, if someone is false accusing you, you don't owe them the decency or the courtesy to acknowledge that there may be something that you've ever had to apologize for.
Look, man, fuck decency. Because Nick, you mentioned Justin Bieber earlier, and one thing that Bieber did that a lot of these other guys have not done is that he came out with receipts, right? He was like, yo, I can
Yep.
prove the person said I did this on this day in this place. It didn't happen, and I can prove it didn't happen. And do you notice how quickly those allegations went away? Because
Yep.
all these hoes are lying, man. Every single Me Too case is a lie. If you come out on social media and say someone did something to you, it never happened. Where's the police report? Because it doesn't exist, right? And Nick, we were talking earlier about what happened with Deshaun Watson out in Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nick, if you're a lawyer and you have to deal with somebody who says, yo, Nick, this chick Me Too'd me, that's one thing, right? What do you do, Nick, when your client says, I have 20 different women coming out there, right?
I mean, you got to do the same thing, but you probably got to do it at full speed. That's
You almost need 20 lawyers.
Where Deshaun Watson needs to, that's his name, right? Deshaun Watson?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What he needs to do is he needs to attack the fact that all these women are going to an aggregated lawyer, Tony Busby, who is he's a notorious Houston lawyer. He's very, very wealthy and very, very well known, high profile guy. He's also crazy. And this is your advantage here because Deshaun Watson, should be attacking the fact that Tony Busby has said that none of the women went to the police because the Houston Police Department is engaged in a conspiracy against him. And that's why none of the women went to the police, because they're in a conspiracy against Tony Busby, which doesn't make any sense to anybody with a brain. But I think the main thing with Deshaun Watson is you have to attack their counsel and the strategy that's going on there, because nothing looks credible. I mean, again, none of these women went to the police, none of them. And there's one woman who has like maybe a more fact-based claim. I don't know if it's correct or anything like that, but she's got maybe a stronger claim than any of the others. And she will not work with Tony Busby because he wanted to sign her to like a contract, like an exclusivity contract as a lawyer. This is shady.
Is this like
shit.
free agency day in the NFL?
Dude, it's
Jesus
shady,
Christ.
man. There's a lot of shady shit going on in Houston.
And I mean, not to put this crudely, but Deshaun Watson's an NFL quarterback. I don't think he needs to like play simp begging on Instagram girls to try and get a hand job. Like that just doesn't seem like something he needs to do. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know if Drex, if you've got any thoughts on it, but it seems to me like quarterback for the Houston Texans, you probably got tons of money. I don't see. Yeah, I don't see why this guy. And it's like if he hits you up on Instagram, again, you probably know why you're going to his house.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I
Nick, we've
can't
seen this
imagine.
with lots. How many times have we seen this though, right, Nick? I mean, you
Yeah.
start naming them. Bill Cosby. You know, when you start to look at some of these guys who've been Me Too, even the Bieber case. Nelly got Me Too'd. The chick said it happened on a bus. And do you remember what I said on your show, Nick? What gets you out of a Me Too allegation? You need women to come forward, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
I don't know if you heard about this, Nick, but there were women who worked on Deshaun, who did like, you know, the massage stuff for him. And there's been, I think it was like 14 different women came out in defense of Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
They were like, yeah, these
Yeah.
other, and they said, they go, these women are lying. Like they actually had receipts. Like, they were like, yo, I can show you texts that Deshaun was making sure that everything was okay. He's like, yo, I have a, you know, pain in the groin area because he's an NFL quarterback, right? He takes hits, right?
Yep.
And so she was like, you know, like, and he even said, like, are you okay with this? And she goes, look, I work with athletes. It's okay. It's consensual. And he went back multiple times, and there was never like these women were these trainers. They didn't say a single negative word about working with Deshaun Watson, right? And you and I have both seen, Nick, when it comes to the Me Too thing, all it takes is that one chick to Me Too you. And then that's when these girls come out of the woodwork. Look what happened to Brett Kavanaugh, right?
Oh yeah, it's always
Were
that's
any of
how
them
it goes.
credible?
It's
Were any of them credible?
No. It's the dam break, right? One
Yep.
person comes out and then several other people they're and also, oh, I was at some place with this person, I can get my name in there. And what people aren't factoring into the Me Too thing is there is a massive level of clout and prestige that comes with being a victim of someone famous.
Yep.
And we've seen it for like
What happened to Vic, right? Nick,
Oh,
when
yeah.
you first told me about the Vic case, you told me, right? It's what we would call revisionist history, right? Where
Yeah.
Vic Mignogna was at a place. He was at a place with people X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden a woman goes, come to think of it, wait a minute. You're claiming that everything was normal when it actually happened, like, you know, 5-10 years ago, out of nowhere, because one or two ham beasts come forward saying Vic did X to me. Now all of a sudden, oh yeah, come to think of it, yeah, he did it to me too. And it's like, wait a minute, he gave you a hug.
One of the weirdo beta accusing guys on Vic is I won't say his name because he's such a forgettable turd. But his story is that he saw Vic grab some woman's leg or something like that, and said she must have been uncomfortable, type thing. And the interesting thing is, if you go back to the convention that the guy's talking about, he was tweeting to Vic right after the convention, "Hey, it was great to see you. Awesome.
Yep.
We should hang out sometime." And the most fabulous part of the convention was Vic's hair and weird stuff like that. And it's like, wait a minute. So you saw this and everything was fine to the point where, like, you are trying to be bro friends with this person. And then 8 years later, you're going to come out and be like, no, what I actually saw was this. Like, what the hell were you doing at the time? Like,
Right?
because I mean,
everything with Vic is so messed up. My favorite part about the Vic case is when you were going through Marky's I guess complaint on your show, and the part where Vic pulled her hair and whispered, quote, something sexual, end quote, into her ear.
Yeah. It's like, what even is that? That could be anything, and it doesn't make any sense. But the whole thing is like, look, if I see some guy walk up and assault a woman, right, and I recognize the guy, and I see him at like, and what I look at is an assault, not some weird, oh, he held her hand, so she must have been uncomfortable, but like some real situation. And then I'm not going to be, if I'm not accusing the guy, which I don't know that why I would in general, because I don't really, that's not my business personally, but I'm certainly not going to be tweeting like, hey, bro, that was so awesome meeting up with you. Like I'm going to be putting distance between myself and that person, as I think most people would. Like, if you see something that you think is assaultive behavior, you're probably not bro-fiving that guy left and right the next day. It doesn't make any sense. So this is the whole thing with all of this stuff. Why do you keep going back to these people who allegedly caused you serious harm? Why did it take 10 years for your paralyzing fear of this person to set in? What the hell is going on here? No one acts like this. But yet, in Me Too cases, we allow people to act however they want in completely fictitious ways, and no one questions it.
This is why we tell people never delete your texts. Ever. Never delete your texts.
Never. I have my old texts. I even have my old phones. Now, Nick, I've told you about this, which is
Imagine being a simp who texts women.
Okay, there.
May I get a crumb? May I get a crumb in the pussy?
Just because you're too boomer to use a cell phone doesn't mean the rest of us are.
I don't have shit to worry about. Like, I could delete every text in my phone right now, and I'm not deleting evidence of nothing.
Yep.
I don't text women at all, except for my wife.
Nick, you're all the better for it, because one of the things I find funny is, I'm looking at, where this thing is going and how it's getting more and more out of hand. And I think we're going to see more and more guys with body cams in the future. Like, okay, so Nick, all of the issues, like the social pressure is ultimately what caused the police reform for cops to wear body cams, right? That was due to social pressure. What happens when the pressure of guys getting Me Too'd, it becomes, okay, guys are going to start wearing body cams, right?
Yep.
Then what happens? Like, what comes next? Because now, imagine going to the workplace, Nick. A guy goes to the office and he's like, yep, body cam on, right? And so all of a sudden, everything becomes like a lot of things become detached, right? Like, so there's not going to be any more like intimate meetings, one-on-one. All that's over.
He told a sexual joke to me. Here, let's get the playback on that, bitch.
Yep. Dude, because Nick, none of it is actually happening. I promise. Look, dude, I've had these discussions, and I've had discussions with men and women. And I'll tell you what, Nick, if you were to ask most women, now, Nick, you worked in a bank with women, and women tell, would you argue, Nick, that women tell just as many sexual jokes as men?
Oh my God, all the time.
All day.
Probably more. I'd say women tell more sexual jokes.
And they're more graphic.
I worked at a bank surrounded by women, and then when I worked in the corporate world, it was primarily women were my coworkers, my immediate peer coworkers were primarily women, and they told jokes all the time, like completely out of line jokes. And I don't care. I'm fine with it. And I'm glad I don't work in the corporate world anymore, because I was telling all kinds of jokes too. One chick used to have me fat shame her so she would be motivated to get on a treadmill. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, you told me that, and I bust out laughing because, like, Nick, if you did that now, you're done.
Yeah,
whenever she feels, whenever her panties get in a twist, she, it was cool January 3rd. All of a sudden, April 15th, bam, done. You're
And
guess
done.
What? She lost a ton of weight, so I like to think that I had a part of that.
Bullying works, kids. If take one lesson from this show today, it's that bullying works. Do it all the time.
But yeah, so that it's weird, man. I don't know. I think you're right. I think there's gonna be, when we can get body cams that record your entire day, that are really easily wearable, they're really affordable, they're not like obstructive or obtrusive, and they they can battery that full like 10 hours where you're away from your house. I think I would recommend them. I mean,
yeah, and we're actually seeing some evidence that that's going to work, because we were talking about the Drex. You remember you told me what the percentage of people who were homeschooling their kids?
Yeah, it's starting to go up
at the end of 2020. Now that these teachers are on camera and parents are watching these teachers and what they say and what they're teaching in class, a lot of parents are waking up to how pointless and useless the public school system is. And I think that's evidence. That's evidence that once you start putting people on camera, all the fuck shit is going to come out in the open.
Well, Nick, we see, here's the thing though, Tim. We see it happening in multiple areas, right? Like, it's happening. Like, I mean, you guys have seen those Uber videos where, I'm sure you've seen this, Nick, especially from a lawyer perspective, where a guy's an Uber driver, he's doing his thing, and then what happens? Some chick starts acting up in the back seat, and it's almost always a female, where she starts acting crazy. And at some point, when the guy's like, "Yo, you need to get out because you're fucking, you're being belligerent, blah, blah, blah. She starts falsely accusing him, right? And he gets hit with it. It happens all the time.
If you are a driver and you don't have a damn camera in that car, you are insane. You are
Yep.
insane. Yeah. And that camera you probably need two. You need one in the front of the car, and then you want one facing into the car, because you
Yep.
do not need that. You're driving too much. You don't need an insurance scam, and you don't need some lame person claiming you did something you didn't.
Well, one of the things I find funny though, Nick, is that here's my thing with Me Too. Where's all the guys Me Tooing somebody? You just don't see it, right? Like there's like one or two, like Kevin Spacey, but like for the most part, Nick, I haven't heard guys at all, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you just don't hear it. Like you don't hear dudes being like, "Oh yeah," and then and Nick, to be fair, even when it comes to a man saying a woman took advantage of him, we just don't see guys coming forward very often saying this person did this to me, they did that to me. Yet when it comes to the other side, these women are saying stuff, Nick, with no evidence at all, literally none, zero evidence. Like if you guys notice, Nick, when a guy makes a claim like, "Oh, I was discriminated against," other than what's that guy Ray Fisher, the guy who played Cyborg, claiming Joss Whedon did stuff. You need evidence, though. A bunch of hearsay is not good enough, Ray Fisher. And I don't want to support Joss Whedon. I'm just saying I got to be fair. You can't come around saying he said this or he did that, but yeah, you still wouldn't cash the check, right?
Oh, well,
Like,
that's because Ray Fisher probably manufactured everything based on Joss Whedon just being a director.
yeah.
Like, I mean, oh, he was a dictatorial asshole. Yeah, he's a director.
He has to be. Well, Stanley Kubrick had that reputation, right? Do you remember when they said Stanley Kubrick basically drove Shelley Duvall insane during filming of The Shining, right? But it's like, if that's what that's what he wanted out of your performance, then that's what it is, right? But I mean, we're just getting to that point, Nick, where I see so many things changing. I even see things changing. Like, you see crypto starting to go mainstream, right? You just keep seeing things change more and more and more. And it's like, and Nick, I was going to ask you this question. With everything we're kind of seeing, with whether it be the Chauvin thing, whether it be, with all the woke media, as a parent, Nick, how do you kind of shield? What do you choose to kind of shield your kids from like the woke mob? You know what I mean?
I mean, I try and just, I keep my kids relatively insulated from most of this stuff because, just in general, they don't care about
Yep.
like current events or anything like that. I was actually shocked when I was talking with my oldest, and I was listening to the Chauvin trial. I was picking him up from somewhere, and he's like, "Hey, Dad, can we listen to Dungeons and Dragons video or something on YouTube?" And I said, "No, I got to listen to this trial testimony for my show tonight." And he's like, "Oh, okay." And a little bit later, he says, "What's this about?" And I was like, "Well, it's about a police officer in Minneapolis." He's like, "Oh, the one who kneeled on the black guy?" And I was like, "How the fuck do you know about this?" I was shocked, but he had seen something about it on YouTube, but I don't know what that was actually from. I actually have to ask him, like, where did you run across this? Because that's not in his normal purview of like videos that he watches.
Yep.
I can't wait until his answer is that he was watching your show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he can't wait either. But I do wonder like where that's coming from. But for the most part, my kids don't want to see that. They're not equipped to have that conversation in general. And my kids just generally don't care. Like they don't care about the race stuff. They barely care about gender stuff. It's not part of their overall lexicon, right? Like
Yep.
people are just people, however they are, and we've never really hid that from them. But we also don't tell them, like, we don't make a big deal out of it because at the end of the day, I don't know if people know this or not. It's just not a big deal.
Right.
Kids do get their cues from the reactions of adults. They know whether they should care about something based on how you react when they bring it up.
Yeah, I agree.
And well, also, insulating your kids is a lot easier out where you live versus in a bigger city, especially with homeschooling, right?
Oh yeah, it's a lot easier out here because we homeschool. We don't really have cable or anything like that. So it's we're not like watching a news station or something weird. There's not a weird background hum of TV. If you're watching something in our house, it's pretty intentional. You picked a YouTube video, you picked a show on Netflix or Amazon or something like that, and that's what you're watching. So we're outside of the incidental exposure that they get to that stuff, or that they get for that stuff, they're not getting a lot of it. And the stuff that they do see, like on Steven Universe or whatever, they used to watch that. Jesus Christ, that show.
Yeah,
Oh,
emphasis, right?
That because that show is just terrible, but like it's just bad. But they watched it for a while, but they phased right out of that. And now here's the thing though, if I had made like a big deal about them watching Steven Universe, what they would have done is they would probably still be watching it.
Correct.
So the kids like stupid stuff, and they like stupid stuff for different reasons, and then they very quickly grow out and grow past it. So it's a combination of a whole bunch of things, but I think not making a big deal out of stuff is a big portion of it, because like you said, Lost, just they react to things in the way that you react to things.
Yep.
And that's where they're learning, especially if you're homeschooling. So but I want to point out there's an interesting subject in the chat.
Yeah, oh God, no, don't. My screen ain't big enough.
Playboy has announced their first plus size model. Did you see that, Drex?
Who? Haley Hasselhoff? Is she related to David Hasselhoff?
It's his
Yes,
daughter.
her daughter.
His.
Oh, you're serious?
Her? Yeah. No, look at these pictures. It's revolting.
Oh.
Based on those pictures, I would say the Hasselhoff is best known for a chocolate factory. Just based on those pictures.
They're gonna put that in
a
magazine as if it were sexy.
I'm not joking. I thought that was about to say Playboy puts first trans model on the cover, because that's a lot of makeup, man. That's a lot of clown paint. The face is pretty masculine. I mean, I'm just saying.
By the way, Pixlexia put a picture of Nick's nose on Floyd.
Yeah.
You gotta. Oh God, it's the gut, man. This is for you.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm posting this one for you.
No.
Full on right there. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, you posted a picture.
Oh my God.
Here's the problem I have with this, Nick. I would be offended if I were a woman and every time they mentioned me, they were like, first plus size model, right? Like they always made it a point, like plus size, plus size, plus size.
I would be offended if I was a woman who looked like that.
They got all that food in front of her too. It's just like, yeah, go ahead. Pig the fuck out, you fat fuck.
It's all strawberries and cream and sugary treats too. It's so great. You'd put a salad in front of her. Try that one out.
Drex,
Dude.
Would you lick the whipped cream off her gunt to get rid of the family court?
Yep. No hesitation. Yep.
You're a hero, man. You're a trooper.
No hesitation, man. The family court is the most evil thing that has ever been created. It's worse than fucking all these like evil dictators people hear about. Nothing is worse than family court.
And Nick, you've actually been in family court, right?
I mean, I've represented people in family court, yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry, I didn't mean to misrepresent that. Yeah, but you've actually handled a case through the family courts. Do you want to tell our listeners maybe some of the things that not everyone gets to see about the family court? Like there are people in there who are absolutely fucking evil and go in there with the express intent of trying to make someone kill themselves.
I mean, yeah, I haven't had to deal with those cases. Mine have been pretty straightforward, and I've represented men and women, and largely we're talking about pretty basic stuff. The interesting thing about family court is most people in there shouldn't be there. Look, if you're fighting over 50 grand, you should not be in family court. If you're fighting over 300 grand, maybe you should be in family court, but most of this stuff should be worked out by the parties without the intervention of the court, because most of the time nobody can afford what they're fighting for. And I'm talking about kids too. Like they just you can't do it. My first case was a family court case, and I was representing the woman, and it was pretty basic. I mean, the guy had assaulted her. She had a restraining order against him, and once she got that restraining order, he ghosted her and the kid for 6 to 8 months. And mind you, this is after he beat her. So it's pretty important. And that's all documented and everything. So he beats her. She gets a restraining order. Now the kid doesn't have a restraining order, just her. So he could have parenting time, but he ghosts them both for 6 to 8 months, something like that. So they were not going to get back together. And we had to work out custody, and we had to work out child support. And we actually wanted less than what the guidelines were for child support, because my client didn't need the full amount, right? It's like, I don't need that much. So it was really easy. We're like, okay, we're gonna smooth sail this. The only issue that we had was back child support for this 6 to 8 months. And that wasn't a big deal, because I think we cut the amount that they were entitled to by like a third. So we were asking for 2/3 of what was owed, and we were asking for a whole lot less on the average month. And the guy went fucking nuts. He went just ballistic over it, and he had a really stupid lawyer, and she's like, "Oh no, he's not going to have to pay that." And I was like, "Dude, it's the statute. We're going to win on every issue every single time, because it's the most basic, straightforward case ever." And we did. And we did.
Wait, wasn't the opposing lawyer in that case who ran for a position in the last election?
Yeah, ran for Supreme Court Justice in Minnesota the past 2 elections. And if anybody votes for that person who got curb stomped in court over and over by a first case lawyer when they'd been a 30-year veteran, a family lawyer, that may God have mercy on you. Don't do it. But like, it wasn't anything special though. It was a really, really straightforward case. We were asking for, and but here's the problem with it. So I finally get the dad on the stand, because they were dumb enough to put the dad on the stand. And so I said, "How much are you paying your attorney each month?" Because we were talking about like his expenses, and he tried to claim that his legal expenses were a cost to justify reducing child support, which they're not. Under the law, they're not. And he said, he was some months it was $3,000, and some months it was up to $7,000. And because this guy refused our offer to pay way less than what the statute said, not only did we get the statutory amount and the back payment, he also paid his lawyer $15,000 to fight a completely losing fight. All because they, he was in that for the wrong reasons. He was not trying to get custody of his kid. By the way, he's really, really bad at even taking the custody that he has. He was not trying to get custody of his kid. He was trying to hurt the mom. That was his goal. And I was like, dude, we've got you on the law on this stuff. We can resolve this, and we don't need to go to court. They wanted to go to court. They got absolutely smoked. So it's a dumb situation. But my point in all this is, those two people should have worked that out. He should not have paid his lawyer $15,000 for just that one issue that he was going to lose. And he could have paid a lot less than what the state mandated that he was going to pay. But people go in with bad intentions, and they come out with bad results.
He sounds like a supreme beta cuck.
Yeah, I was saying, he actually, Nick, he's basically playing the role of the female, because usually what you hear is like, it's the guy like, "Yo, look, I just want, something simple. I don't even want to be here. She's dragging me through it. She's, fighting over, the toaster," right? That's usually the dude saying that, like, "Oh, this fucking bullshit." Whereas she basically was playing the role of the dude.
Yeah, and it was like, because she wanted him to be the dad to the kid. Like, she wanted that. She wanted him to have parenting time. And I mean, it was significant. Now, the majority of parenting time, not a huge majority, but the majority of parenting time was with the mom because the mom was the primary caregiver and the kid went to school. And that's just how that's going to be, right? But outside of the school schedule, it was like as much time as the dad was willing to take, she was willing to have because she had 2 jobs she had to work. She had 2 jobs and she's like, yeah, take him, be dad. And he just wouldn't do it. And it's like, that's the story of family court. It's people with bad intentions getting bad results over and over and
Yeah.
over. Cause they can't get over their personal shit. And that's why I hate family court. It's too emotionally charged. It's not, someone, someone busted my tree or something like that. It's someone hurt me and there's also a legal issue that we have to resolve. That emotional issue gets in the way 10 times out of 10.
Well, Nick, do you know what? Want to tell you the funniest thing I learned about being in family court was there's this issue that happens, and I'm sure you've seen it, where one person wants to be there a lot more than the other person, right?
Yep.
And it's something I noticed right away because I was like, I didn't want to be there at all. I was like, look, I was the guy who was saying from day one, no court, no court, no court. We don't need court. There's always someone who wants to be, and which is what you said. It doesn't matter if sometimes it's the guy, sometimes it's the girl, right? Someone wants to be there to hurt somebody. That's the real reason family court exists. They know that someone, usually the woman, not always, but usually, is going to want to fight every, tooth and nail over custody or child support or whatever, or all this stuff. It doesn't matter who wants to fight. The problem is there's usually someone who's like this. Yes, relax. Like we don't need to go through this because it's spending a lot of money that could be going toward those kids, right? Like Nick, you just said 15 grand. What do you think that guy could have done with 15 grand had he never gone to court?
I mean, anything. They could have sent their kid to private school.
Yep.
If they wanted to do that. If they didn't want to, imagine this. So, one of the big hangups they had was over driving because they ended up living like 45 minutes away from each other. And so it's like, oh, 15 grand. You know what you could do? You could hire a driver. You could hire a driver to do the handoffs for the kid for 15 grand. You could do that. You could do that easy, or you could, do 15 grand and buy, a car or something to make the drive better. Or you could spend 15 grand on the kids' clothes, or you could spend 15 grand on literally anything.
Anything.
What would you do with 15 grand is the question that you have for everybody. And there's a lot of great stuff you can do with that. And most of it is not pay it to some lawyer to piss away even more of your money later. Because remember,
Nick, most people's credit card debt, their consumer debt is in that range. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
yeah.
Here you are spending it on nothing. Like you're going nowhere.
And remember, he paid 15 grand to end up paying about $8,000 more than he had to pay in child support. That's how bad he ended up losing when you combine like the monthly amount plus the back child support amount that we were willing to forgive. He ends up spending 15 grand to pay 8. And he could have just, so he's technically out $23,000 at the end of the day.
For crying.
And it was like, and I mean, he had a decent living. He made like 60 to 70 grand a year, but still, I mean, $23,000 that's a lot. That's a lot of fucking money. I know really rich people who don't want to part with 23 grand.
Have you seen a beta just get taken to the cleaners in the family court? Just cleaned out for everything he had, and he's just got his head down and taken it the whole time.
Not really. Well, kind of, but it's in a little bit of a different scenario, and not really taken to the cleaners because there just wasn't anything to take. But I mean, we've had to. I've have a long issue of dealing with this guy who used to hurt his kid a lot, and he thought he was gonna fight over restraining orders, and actually had successfully fought against restraining orders for years until I came along and got some magical circumstances where we were able to finally get one and break his hold on the kid. But I don't know if that was his choice to fight for the kid, because he never seemed that interested, but it was I think it was his mom who was really pushing for it. And so, because like when his parents he lived with his parents, and when they would go out of town, he wouldn't take care of the kid at all. Like he wouldn't do his parenting time. But when they were home, he would always do his parenting time, and he would always, like every trip, he would hit this kid, and it was so fucking bad. Doctors and teachers reported it, and the state just wouldn't do anything.
Okay, that brings me to something else too, because I would dare to say that the biggest fuck ups in family court are not the parents, not the lawyers, the fucking judges. Like especially the Sophie case, the Sophie Long case.
Yeah, that case is a fucking disaster.
Well, judges wield all the power. Like, so Nick, this is something that people don't understand. In criminal court, when you are facing charges, it doesn't matter what the charges are. Your attorney is the biggest thing. Because if you go in there with some damn public defender and you're facing serious charges, you're done. But in family court, your lawyer really doesn't mean anything. You do. Like I represented myself for most of my family court case. And I'll tell people right now, and that's no disrespect to either one of the attorneys, because I had two of them. I was like, at the end of the day, you get the right judge, it's going to be a lot easier. You get the wrong judge, you're screwed. Like, because judges have unilateral power. Like they have all these, well, you know how that works, Nick. There's all these different like little things that they say, like we're going to base it on. A judge can just pick any one of like the little factors. They call it, I think it's like 13 factors they have or something.
Well, it's the family court, especially when kids are involved, have these magic words that don't exist anywhere else in law, and that's the best interest of the child standard. But that isn't a standard. It's literally the judge's opinion on what they think is the best interest of the child. It makes no sense at all. And there's nothing objective about it. And it's nowhere else in law would this be permitted. Like, could you imagine if the judge was doing for your, let's say you have a contract dispute, right? And the judge said the best interest of the customer standard. It's like, but wait, we wrote down in a contract exactly what the agreement was, and they violated the agreement. It's like, well, but it's not in his best interest,
right?
For him to have to pay.
Well,
and it's like,
you hear it all over and over. It's so corrupt, and when you see it, and that's how you get the Sophie cases. And Nick knows, you're not going to hear any guy say that he wants to hear a guy beating on his kids. That's a scumbag. You're not, but when it comes to like parental alienation, that's overwhelmingly female because the court favors them. The problem is that the courts have not figured out, and they don't want to figure out because they know it's more profitable to have both sides fighting. It's more profitable for women to get custody in over 90% of cases. There's a reason for all that. And Nick, you know as much as I do, the courts don't want people to not fight. Because Nick, you wouldn't really spend much time in court, right? If both sides were like, yeah, we're literally just here to have it on paper, right? Like that's the only reason.
You never have to go in at all. If you can work stuff out, you can just submit the filing, and then the judge will take it. They'll take the time, they take 15, 20, 30 days or whatever, and then they'll sign the paperwork, and then it's in order and you're done. That's the dream. If you get every case to do that, it's perfect.
I've even heard that with married couples who get divorced, Nick. I actually worked with a guy who said, like, that's basically how his went. Like, they went in and, here, these people are so used to everyone fighting and all that stuff. And they were just like, yep, we're good. This is what we agreed on. Yep, we're good. And they're like, that's it? Like, yeah, that's it. And they just kind of looked like they're looking at the bailiff. Everyone's like everyone is stunned because all they're used to is just people fighting.
Yeah. Those Minnesota has a self-help divorce section. I'm probably going to do like a video on all the self-help stuff that exists in Minnesota and maybe other states eventually. But like the self-help divorce, if you can bear talking to the other partner, like you should do it. That's the way you should do it. You go through, you put down your assets on paper. Everything in Minnesota, as far as like support and stuff like that, is based on a formula, and you can literally just by math. There's no like prejudice or anything involved. There's no lawyer whispering in your ear, you could get more, You could get more. None of that shit. It's literally a math formula. Here's how much you make. Here's how much you make. Here's how much time you have with the kid. Here's how much time you have with the kid. It spits out the amount that the person who has the kid less pays. That's it. And there's no reason to really do that as long as you can talk to the other person. Now, if you're talking about someone who makes like $10 million a year, we're getting into different questions. But for the overwhelming majority of people, like who are making middle class wages, there is no reason to do this stuff. If you can stomach the other person for 20 minutes, get somebody in there who will yell at both of you if you guys start losing control, and just get this shit written down on paper.
Right.
And then you go into court and you say, do you agree to this? Yes. Do you agree to this? Yes. You guys both sign this? You recognize this? Everything looks normal? Yeah. All right. You're divorced. Game over. Get out of here. And it's the easiest thing in the world.
It should be, man. It's sad that it's not. Like, and like I said, Nick, we talked about it. People want to be there, that someone else doesn't want to be there. But it's like, you look at, to wrap it up, even as we go back to looking at criminal court cases, whether it be criminal court, you can wind up in civil court and everything. There's always that element, Nick, of the unknown, right? And I think that's what some people, like, whoever wants to be there more, they believe the unknown element is going to work more for their favor, right?
They also have, and this to be true, there's always a hustler, right?
Always.
Riling one of the people up.
Yep.
And
you can
you
get more.
And a lot of times,
or crazy lawyer, whoever.
Yep. A lot of times it's a lawyer. And that's the thing. I've had clients who get mad at me because they're like, well, what about this? And I'm like, yeah, I don't bullshit around. You're not gonna get that. So it's not really worth talking about getting that. And
then what do they usually say, Nick? Someone told me I could get, right?
Oh yeah. I had a guy,
I heard.
I had to fire a client because he threatened to hit me, while I was telling him, we had a deposition and he wanted me to, object to everything in the deposition. I said, you don't have a right to object to everything in the deposition. And he said, well, so-and-so, this other lawyer told me I could. I said, well, you're paying me. I'm telling you what's true. He's telling you what you want to hear. And he's like, well, I'm not going to answer any questions. I said, they're entitled to these questions. That's the whole purpose of a deposition. You can't just walk out. And he's like, well, this other guy would. And I said, fine, hire him then. So then he screams at me and threatens to hit me. And I said, fine, fuck you. You're fired. He's, well, what about my deposition? It was an hour from then, by the way. Like, what about my deposition? I said, that's not my problem, man. I'm not going to sit here and be threatened by some weirdo because you don't like the answers you're paying me to give you. Fuck you. And I said, I'll call him and tell him that you're seeking new counsel and they need to reschedule, but that's on them. It's not my problem, man. Too bad. It's shocking. People don't realize that you don't have to put up with them threatening physical violence on you. And the other thing, like, clearly that guy didn't want my legal advice anymore. So it's like, what you're going to, I just told you I'm not going to do what you want me to do at the deposition. So why would you have me represent you? You know what to do. Go ahead. He was not, he did the, we'll call it the bitch up.
Uh-oh.
But I did not, I said, representation is done. It's over. And then he was really sad about it. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, me too, but I'm not going to deal with this shit.
Yep.
You're not paying me that much.
I'm a YouTube star, motherfucker. I don't need to deal with you.
This is before
I know
YouTube.
It was a lot before. But
well, Nick, what makes that funny is that in a sense, that's a shit test, right?
Yeah.
When someone's sitting there saying, oh, I'm going to do this and that. And when you just literally say, no, that's cool. And you chuck the deuce up, right? And they're kind of like, oh, whoa. I thought I could just threaten you and then you would take it, right?
Yeah.
And when you don't, they're kind of like, oh, shit. And then you're like, yeah, good luck in court. And Nick, congratulations to you for doing that. Because, it's things that you and I have talked about where, when you and I were growing up, Nick, we've been shit tested to different degrees in different ways. And you just kind of sit back and laugh because, the dude who tried to, the little punk kid who tried to provoke me into a fight with the cops standing right there.
Yeah.
Like, there's always a shit test that men have to be challenged with, right? And you got to be
Mhm.
smart enough to have that cool head to be like, no, I'll just walk away.
Well, the funny thing,
You don't need to be a tough guy. You don't need to. You didn't need to like say like, oh yeah, you want to try something? Let's go. You're like, no, just I'll leave. I'm good.
yeah. Oh, and the funny thing about the professional aspect of it is they, people make assumptions about what you need from them. So this guy's like, oh, this is a young lawyer, really needs me as a client, blah blah blah, needs my money. I don't need that. I didn't need it then. I don't need it now. I don't need this shit from you. I'm working with you because I choose to. And if I
Yep.
stop, if you want to fuck around, then I'll just stop choosing to. I don't have any need for what you have. But that's the shit test is, well, you need me. Nope. I actually don't.
Yeah. Dude,
Uh,
I've been there, and it's always funny to have happen where you just get to a point in life, Nick. Have you felt that you've reached that where like you just stop caring, right?
Oh yeah.
You're literally just like,
Yeah.
what, whatever, dude. Yeah, like Nick, you and I have talked about it. When the pandemic first hit, and you were seeing me a lot more because I'm like, well, traveling isn't really happening, so it's good that my daughter can go and hang out with your kids, and it's all one big, huge, happy family.
Hmm.
And you and I are sitting back talking about it like we don't really need much, right? An
Yeah.
internet connection, some laughs, and some food. Like we're good. We got our kids. We're good, right? Like we don't need much. You got your wife. You got your family. I got my family. Like Nick, we early during the whole lockdown shit last year, especially. We just remember that like me, you, Lady Rackets could like watch movies and shit while the kids are being loud and obnoxious. We go and do a show, wash, rinse, repeat. It was
Yeah.
nothing. So
It's
like,
easy
all
life.
these people, it's an easy life. Like, dude, we don't need the fuck shit. If there's like women or men out there who want to like heckle people, Nick, you talked about it. There are people who have come after you on YouTube, people who come after you on Twitter. It's like you can respond if you choose to, if you just happen to be in a responding mood, but you're like, dude, your comments don't mean anything to me. If someone calls you a lame or you're stupid or worse insults, oh well, Nick, did it change that 900-inch TV you have? No,
No.
it didn't change shit.
No. You'll be proud of me. I was watching the riots on my phone from my hot tub.
Oh, I wanted to bring that up. So when is your hot tub thought special?
I don't know, because my first thought special on Twitch is at 20,000 followers, and I'm doing yoga.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
So then I guess it's got to be 30,000 followers. I don't know.
Damn.
Yeah, you still owe us a 24-hour stream, man.
I know. I have no idea when I'm going to do it. I legit have no idea. I think there's something coming up where I might have some time. Oh yeah, my kids are going to go. Some of my kids are going to go visit my parents, and then my other kids are going to go visit my parents for a while. So I'll have less kids around. That might be a good time to do it. I don't know. Because I'm like, when the fuck am I supposed to do this?
I
24 hours.
I almost feel like a 24-hour stream is a perfect setting for a drinking contest with Uncivil.
You have to understand, when I promised that 24-hour stream, Drex was on the show. I didn't think I would get to 100,000 subscribers ever, because I was watching my sub count, which had remained basically flat for something like 7 months, because YouTube hates live streams. And so I was just like, well, I'm never going to get there. So sure, I guess I'll do another one.
I want to check what Doug Tenaple's at right now.
Doug's channel got yeeted.
Oh, right. Yeah, he got thrown off.
Oh, are you
His
serious?
art channel's still up. Yeah, Doug Tenaple got yeeted.
His channel and his backup channel got thrown off.
Wow.
I'm telling you, Drex, get
Just
down
like
there
that?
and deal with Susan.
Dude, Nick, I gotta hurry up and smash Susan, man. I might need you for legal representation afterward.
I'll tell you guys this. So YouTube's gotten a lot of feedback about them tightening up on it's the two topics. It's the election topic and it's the COVID topic. So those two things, and that's where that's what one of Doug's strikes was, because he had his dad on the show who had gotten the poke and didn't have the best response. So he had some negative things to say about the poke. You can't do that. Can't do that on YouTube. That is instant. I'm not even joking.
Are you serious?
That is an instant strike. And so
Wow.
that was one of them. They've gotten so much feedback from people getting these bogus strikes that they're actually, from what I'm told, are retooling the policy around those topics. The damage is mostly done already, but it's crazy town. My strike, I was covering Biden's speech about the vaccine status. And they're like, you're spreading misinformation and you're going against the World Health Organization's advice. And I'm like, I don't think I said anything about whether people should get it or not. I don't even know if I told a joke about it. I genuinely don't know. And I'm still waiting for a result of what exactly was said because I haven't gotten that back yet. And when I was like, I talked to my person yesterday. I had a meeting with him and I'm like, hey, I need to know what got my strike there. Because one, if I didn't say anything, I want this escalated. I want it removed. But two, if I said something, I don't know what it was. So I want to know so I don't say it again. And
Correct.
and if it was something in the video or if it was something from the chat, then I want to know what those are because I want to allow people maximum speech, but I also want to tell people, hey, you can't say this stuff or else they'll yeet me off of YouTube apparently. But I don't think it was from the chat or anything like that. My person mentioned that it could be something like that, but I don't think so.
It might be one of the justice chats that they had an issue with.
That's unbelievable.
It could be, but at this point I actually just don't know. And so I'm like, well, will you fucking tell me what triggered this? Because that I need to know so I don't do it again. Because here I am thinking I'm covering the president of the United States, the chosen golden child, who's talking favorably about all this stuff. How could this possibly go in a bad way? Like, other than if I made some joke and the algorithm just caught it and some humans like, well, he said the magic words, so he's done. That's a possibility, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out.
For those concerned, so Nick, you're on Locals now too, right? So locals.com is your alternative in case, because I mean, the day may come where YouTube just says, you know what, fuck this guy, we're throwing him right out.
Oh yeah, and that's
nothing you can do. Nothing.
That's what actually happened to Doug, because he never got a third channel strike. He had 2 channel strikes, and then they just said, you've been found to be repeatedly in violation of our community guidelines, and yeeted him. They never told him what the third offense was. There wasn't a third offense. And you got to understand, man, Doug was making $35,000 a month on that. That's how much money.
His channel exploded so much. You know what? We've been stuck at 4,900 subscribers for quite a while now. We're just waiting to get to that 5K mark. But I know at any moment, right, if one clip of ours just makes it to the right person, our channel could be 100K in a couple of months.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's so the way. That's the YouTube lottery right there.
Yeah.
Is something catches the magical algorithm gods, and then suddenly you're up there. And that's what happened to Doug in December. I got a little bit of that in December as well, and we were able to capitalize on those things. But then Doug was a little too spicy. And so, by the way, like that's the frustrating thing, because I get comments and stuff where people are like, oh, he won't acknowledge realities about the election, unsubscribed. And it's like, I can't do it. Right. It's like, and while some people are like, oh, well, your integrity or whatever, it's like, you don't understand. I won't be able to talk to you at all. There won't be any level of truth coming out because you won't have a place to even listen. You'll be stuck with CNN forever. Right. CNN and Markiplier or whatever. That's all you'll ever get for the rest of your life. If you guys hold people to the standard of, well, you should sacrifice every your entire income for this. It's like you can't do it. Like you can't talk about it there. So where we can talk about it, of course, is on Locals. like you mentioned, and also on Odyssey. All my short content is mirrored on Odyssey. It's not really equipped to handle the long content yet, so that's kind of unfortunate. But Odyssey is a decentralized platform that is funded by LibriCoin, and it's a cryptocurrency thing. And I would take 0 views on YouTube if all of those views transferred to Odyssey in a heartbeat, but that's not how people work. But I'm just saying, like, I will take view for view people leaving YouTube to go to Odyssey all day. Please watch my shit on Odyssey. It's worth way more to me there. It's not restricted.
Right.
It's restricted by the same restrictions that most websites have. You can't post pornography, and you can't directly threaten to harm someone. Those are the 2 things you can't do pretty much anywhere except on, you can post porn on specific porn sites, but we saw what happened to Pornhub. I mean, that's why no one's allowing pornography anywhere, is because these lawsuits were alleging that there's underage people in the videos that they have no control over.
Meanwhile, Twitter's allowed to just distribute that stuff without regard, right?
Yeah.
But no, and so the Migtown podcast is over on Migtown.tv. That is our backup channel. That they also so I had a conversation with the owner recently. They're working on a little secret project that might be membership based, kind of like what Locals does, right? Where people can subscribe membership levels and whatnot.
Where is this? On Odyssey?
Migtown.tv.
Oh, Migtown.tv. I thought you said Migtown.tv, like the show name, but I was confused. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I know. That's how I came up with the name Migtown in the first place, the name of this show. I'm like, you could easily just confuse the 2 words. They just sound similar.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, we'll go with this. But anyways, that is our backup channel. So guys, if you oppose YouTube and the way they treat people like Doug TenNapel, the way they give bullshit strikes to people like Nick, we've been lucky. We haven't had a strike yet. We're actually, some of our videos are still monetized, which is surprising.
Which is a shocker.
Well, look, I'm gonna say this though: for as much shit as YouTube gets, and they do deserve a lot of it, like, it would be silly to refuse to acknowledge that they really do let up a lot of content that is quote unquote controversial. It's just not as political, right? Because there's lots of MGTOW channels on YouTube that do get to say quite a bit, and they get away with monetizing a lot. And so I think that, for what it's worth, a lot of people at YouTube really are trying to make a platform that is viable for as many creators as possible. And I think sometimes corporate gets in the way of that with their stupid policies, like on the fucking election stuff. But for the most part, man, I genuinely think that and I've talked to the head of monetization at YouTube. I think that they really do try. That guy didn't give a fuck about anything, by the way.
Yeah.
He's like, the worst thing we have to do is demonetize video. He's like, we hate it.
I don't know. It sounds like he's just saying that. Because then you look at the application, right? Like, I'll never trust anyone's words. I trust their actions.
You gotta, okay, let me be very, very clear about this. Most of the review of monetization never gets to that guy's team.
True.
Like, we're talking 99.9% of YouTube, even 99% of demonetized stuff never gets to his in-person special review team. So they're a separate sort of animal, because otherwise I would agree with you, but it's almost entirely done automated. Even the quote unquote manual review is a heavily automated process. And most of that can actually be beaten by uploading multiple copies of stuff and then just having them all reviewed and then just picking the one that they end up monetizing. There's a pro tip for anybody out there, by the way. Just upload 6 copies.
Jeez, I didn't actually know that. Nick, are you running on time? Are you running short on time there? Do we need to let you go soon?
Well, he needs to, because he's got an hour for his own show. But Nick, we definitely appreciate you coming through, man. And I'll end up seeing you.
Thank you for joining us for episode 20. I mean,
yeah, I feel really bad about not coming on yesterday, by the way, but I had completely completely spaced that I had agreed to it. It wasn't in my calendar. And then you mentioned it, and I was like, oh, fuck me.
Well,
I
and so if you actually check my DMs with you, I've got like, here's the time, here's the date, and you replied, let me check my calendar.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure we're good, but I'll check my calendar just to be sure.
Yeah.
And then just nothing. And I was like, Nick, are we still doing this?
Yeah.
Well, Nick, live chat Wednesday got moved to Tuesday. I don't remember what time dude, we were there for like 6 hours last night.
I went to sleep.
Yeah,
You guys were
Tim
going so
literally
late.
went to sleep. Like I remember like there was a point, Nick, we got a dude who's I'm listening to the accent, that's New Zealand. And it's daytime for him. Like, yeah, it's in the morning. I'm thinking to myself, what fuck? Like, when did I start? And you don't realize it. I'm like, oh man. But it's great. Yeah, like I said, we enjoy having you. Yeah, shout out to Nick. If you want to go ahead and show your channel, I'm sure everyone already knows because that's where I got my start from. Was this man right here, Nick Rekieta. But anyone who doesn't know, if they're listening to the video and want to listen to you, Nick, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Rekieta Law. You can find my very underserved nerd content at Rekieta Media. And you can find me over on twitch.tv/Rekieta Law as well. And there's a big movement for me. I'm gonna be doing a daytime live stream on Twitch soon where it's gonna be like law, meme, news, and video reviews. It's just gonna be a fun time to just kind of let loose with a whole lot less sort of concern, because if my Twitch channel gets a little suspension, I don't care as much as if my YouTube channel does. So it'll be a fun place.
You're going to run The View from Twitch.
I mean, I guess I'm not going to have any women on. I guess The View doesn't either. Just harpies.
Just a couple of German shepherds, right, Drex?
Yeah, they got nothing but harpies, man. It's a complete shit show, man. I can't believe people actually watch that garbage.
But yeah, Nick, thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been great.
Oh, you said spring break was coming up, huh?
Well, for her,
again,
I mean, these kids got these weird spring break times where when you and I went to school, spring break was in March, right? These kids are going spring break in April. They go to school for another month and they're out of school for summer. It's like, fuck's the point, man?
They had Easter holidays. They had the February break, Christmas break. They spend more time out of school than in it.
Breaks, man.
They should spend more time out of school than in it, because school right now, especially, is a turbo joke.
Oh, it's useless.
It's a joke regularly, but even now it's fucking worse than normal.
Right?
Anyways, we'll let you get going, Nick.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Rekieta Law, everybody. Definitely. This guy is the guy who put me on. I love him. He's literally a brother, because when his mom introduces, she always says she has two sons, a black one and a white one.
And for me too, like Nick had me on his show for the election stream, and I had the time of my life there. It's one of my happiest memories in recent history.
Yeah, it was a fun show, man.
And we gotta get Ty on this show. Nick, can you help me get in touch with Ty?
Yeah,
I'll send you my email. We'll get in touch with him. Gotta get Ty on this show.
Guy. I'm gonna. Look, I'm finally gonna meet him, man. But yeah, Nick, once again, thanks.
When are you gonna meet him?
When I get to Dallas, when a gangbang doesn't fall through due to bitches getting arrested by pulling guns and getting punched by fucking cops. Whenever that doesn't happen, everything I just mentioned, Nick, when that doesn't happen, I'm gonna meet Ty Beard in the flesh. I promised Ty I was gonna meet him.
She's lucky she didn't get her back literally blown out by a taser.
Oh, me so horny.
Oh, Nick, get out of here.
Nick,
all right,
you're
guys.
horrible. But yeah, thanks, Nick.
Yep. Catch y'all later. Peace.
Yeah, putting the bang in gangbang, right, Drex?
Oh man, there it is. And that's the show, everybody. That's how we roll over here. Is we send people off with those kind of images.
Yeah, I wanna hit two emails. I just want to hit two quick emails.
Oh,
and Ken, if you're there and if you can come in, unmute yourself. Come on in. Let's see here. Anna sent an email in.
Hey, how's she doing? I love her.
Well, she's got a story for you, Drex.
Shit. Oh God. You know I love stories too.
Yeah, I know you love stories. I love telling stories. I love listening to stories. I love being stories. Anyways.
All right, what is the story?
Well, this is a story. This is a family story for her.
Oh, nice.
So, Anna's mother and Anna ran into an old friend a while back, and it was a black woman who happened to be a judge.
Oh, Jesus.
Nothing too big. However, she was with her husband, and honestly, this is the first time Anna says she's ever seen a beta man in the flesh. He wouldn't even make eye contact.
Hold on. Anna has said that she's dealt with beta males because like that's basically like the only dating pool that's out there now, right? Is basically just beta males and
No.
And what?
This is a capital B beta male.
Oh, so this is the
Drex.
guy's like a turbo simp power bottom cuck.
Right. So she says he wouldn't even look anyone in the eye. He wouldn't say a word until his wife said he could.
Jesus.
He introduced himself and didn't say anything else. Yes, he was white, and you could tell who wore the pants. Apparently, they've been together for 10 plus years.
Of course they have. It's, you know what that reminds me of? Have you ever heard someone talk about like American slavery, like antebellum South, and like, no, they were slave masters who treated the slaves well? Stop. Stop. Ask anybody, hey, would you rather be a slave or a free person? They're gonna be like, I'd rather be free. Why? Well, obviously we know why, right? This dude is a willing slave, right?
Yep.
Fuck this dude. But go on, proceed.
Anyways, she in the conversation after they part ways, the conversation moves to relationships, and Anna brings up her brother, and her mother literally says he's not ready to date a black woman yet.
Okay.
Her mother says, Anna's mother says that her brother cannot handle a woman who is that strong and independent.
Oh, here we go.
Her words.
What did I tell you? So here's the thing. German Shepherds wear their dysfunction like a badge of honor. They wear it with pride. So they wear being unmarriageable. Like no real man wants a black woman. None. Zero. Okay. Let's start there. Okay. No one wants a German Shepherd. And let me just make this clear. German Shepherd behavior is unwanted. So you could be a white chick and be a German Shepherd, right? Like, what is Karen? Karen is a German Shepherd. It just happens to be a white chick. So you're at least going to get some submission, some femininity. With German Shepherds, you get none, right? When they're black. Now, and that being said, what's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, here's the thing. This is for the guys out there. Men don't want to deal with or handle women. Tim, could you imagine getting home from a hard day of work? You've been out there, busting your ass. Could you imagine coming home and having to like fight and fuss with a fucking German Shepherd? You're like, don't you want to come home to something nice and soft and feminine, right? Like, hey, babe, here's a shower. Take a shower. She comes and rubs your shoulders. Maybe she grabs you a cold beer, lets you kick your feet up. She has a meal ready for you. That's when men are willing to go out there and bust their ass and sacrifice for her and the family. That's when men do that. And historically, men have done that. Could you imagine coming home to some bossy, masculine, growl-faced, angry fucking German Shepherd? Oh, man. The black community's so done, man. But go ahead.
Anyways.
What's the rest of the story? So,
I mean, that's pretty much it. To summarize, it sounds like Anna's mother is training her brother, who's 21, and apparently getting him ready to find a black woman to be his wife.
I need to step in. I got to save this man. I won't allow anyone to be with German Shepherds.
So Anna's asking, like, what can she do?
Okay, I'll tell you what she can do. She can send her brother Minister Jap videos. Shout out to my man Minister Jap for putting everybody on the whole German Shepherd thing. I want her brother to listen to Minister Jap, and he's like, oh shit, this is my mom. This is that black judge. These are all the black women I've ever encountered in my life. They are fucking demonic. Spawn of Satan. I might have to come in and do an
stupid.
intervention, man. Tim,
Oh,
you ever see
probably.
those shows where someone has to come in and do like an intervention, right?
Yep.
I might have to start doing interventions.
Sit
in the
down.
black
Sit
community.
down. No. Don't go
Yeah,
anywhere.
we're not.
Sit
We're
down,
not
take a seat.
allowing. I'm not going to allow anybody to cohabitate in enter long-term relations with German shepherds. I want them to all die alone. Okay.
And
I told you guys. I want the self-deletion rate to rise. It's horrible. It's horrible, man. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
The context that this conversation took place in was this like pussy whipped, skinny beanpole white beta, capital B beta, turbo power bottom. All right, that was the context that conversation took place in.
Of course, her mom, Anna's mom, is a German Shepherd, man. She's talking about her mom to Nick and I, right? When we had her on the show, she was talking about her mom, and if I recall, her mom does not disclose her own age or like certain information that like you should know. Like her mom is a mystery to her own daughter, right?
Yeah.
Tim, you've never heard of that in your life, right? You've never heard a guy who goes like this. I don't know how old my mom is. I don't know how many brothers and sisters she has. Like, how do you not know that about your own mom?
My mom's 19 and a virgin.
Dude, it's.
Oh, all right. Well, that's it for her email. Thanks, Anna. Shout out to you. And if you want to come on the show, send him Minister Jap videos. Anna, if you want to come on to the show, we'll have you. Absolutely. Just hit us up. Hit me up. Slide into my DMs.
Yeah.
But absolutely, if you want to come on the show sometime, we're happy to have you.
She's great.
Our next emailer, this is a great one. This is funny. All right, so we know about internet friends, right? This is the intro to this email. Internet friends are fake and gay.
I already hate where this is going.
But I do have a few business associates, people who I've done freelance work for. One, we'll call him Friction, tends to go, he goes by and he has this horrible habit of getting romantically entangled with trannies.
What? Wait, stop. Wait, how did we get here? Wait, what? Wait, let me get this straight.
I bet you're all, do you remember that opening sequence of Megamind, right? I bet you all want to know how this happened.
How did this happen? How did we even get here, man? Are you fucking serious?
Now, what's an ERP?
ERP?
This occurs primarily because he ERPs with random commenters.
Erotic roleplay.
Erotic roleplay. God damn it.
That's not.
I feel blessed that I didn't know that.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that. Well, not the acronym anyway. Wait, hold on. So this guy's erotic role playing with trannies?
Yeah. With random commenters on image-based porn sites.
Oh,
Sidebar: do not erotic roleplay. If you do, stop it and get some help. I'm sure Ken can actually talk about that a little bit, but Ken says he'll be here in a little bit, so I'm just kind of killing some time. Anyways, this friend, we'll call Friction, recently abandoned his Discord account because he's going for some certifications and he doesn't have time to roleplay with the trannies anymore. And yes, that extremely sexual and kinky hyper sub is a teenage boy. Don't roleplay.
Wait, whoa. Hold on. He knew this, or he... Wait a minute, man.
It's a little unclear, but I think that was the roleplay.
So he wants to role play with a teenage boy.
Or maybe the tranny is doing it. The tranny wants to role play with the teenage.
Dude.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense that the tranny wants to be...
Are you sure it's a tranny? Are we sure who's who in this story? Because if you're on the internet, how do you know who's who, right? Someone can say, "Oh, I'm
sure they video.
Girl.
I'm sure they video chat. I mean, they probably saw her penis. So Drex, balls or no balls on your trannies?
Dude, you're still smashing a trap, bro. It doesn't matter what you're doing at that point, man. You're doing
balls
the
or
same
no
thing.
balls on your Cynthia. Would you have felt better if you reached down and felt balls on your Cynthia?
That would have been better in the sense of you would know immediately, right? Like what you don't want to
Yeah.
do is smash. So, because here's the thing: if you were to ask any dude, which scenario is worse? You feel down there and you feel balls. You go, what the fuck? And you can turn around and leave, right? Because it's a dude.
I still think you would have been traumatized.
Oh yeah, no. You would still be traumatized, but here's the thing though. I think you're going to be more traumatized if you smash a post-op tranny and then someone tells you, yo, that's a post-op tranny, bro. You see what I'm saying? Because now you smashed. Fuck that. All right, so wait a minute. Let me get this.
Anyway, so I'm getting to the question, but yeah, the guy abandoned his Discord account, but because his Discord's hooked to his primary email, he gets these messages from these trannies.
So let me get this straight. Let's get the story straight. This guy he's a working man. He is into erotic role play, and I guess they want to do the teen boy thing for. I won't even ask.
I don't even want to know.
And where is he at now?
I wish I
with
hadn't
this?
read that sentence.
So where's all this going?
So it isn't advice about what he should do because that's painfully fucking obvious, says our emailer. Ignore the tranny, change emails, blah, 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 blah. Is there anything that our emailer can do to help his friend Friction make the right choice? Or should I start divesting all business interests related to him?
You know what? I blame this guy. If you find out your friend is too weird. Oh, here's the thing. You can be a kinky dude. You can be into some stuff, right? But once you start getting into anything that involves minors, you have to unfriend this person.
Yeah, get me the real story on this, because it's not clear who exactly, because that's the thing. If the tranny is like, oh, I want you to roleplay as a teenage boy, and the guy's like, sure. Gross, but I guess I'll do it. We're not really hurting anyone, are we? We're two consenting adults. Like,
even role playing as a teen, bruh.
No, okay. And you're still
Like,
fucked in the
that's
head.
suspect,
Like, the fact that
man.
you're going along with it.
Yeah.
Like, how badly are you simping where this is the kind of stuff you're agreeing to? Age play is very common, but with minors? Oh, wait. Teenage boy could be 19, right?
Oh, I see. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it might be 18, 19.
Okay, when you said teen boy, I was thinking like teen. Okay, well.
Yeah, because
if
I mean,
you're the
18
legal
is
age of
still a
consent,
teenager. Yeah, that's what I just thought of that, right? Because there's a porn magazine I remember called 8teen, the number 8 plus TEEN, right?
I remember that somehow.
Women.
I don't know how, but I vaguely remember it.
That was my first dirty
like,
mag.
that was like 90s, right? Like late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this. Like, episode 20, Drex. We've made it to 20 episodes.
I know, man. It's good shit.
We'll be coming up on 50 episodes soon. Like that, we'll be coming up on a year soon enough. It's a big deal.
It happens quicker than you think.
It does. This has been a wild ride. So thank you so much. Until next week. And a big thank you to Nick Rekieta for, blessing us with his thoughterry.
Yeah. The Drift King. Or the Grift King, that's who he is. The Grift King. I said Drift. Yeah, the Grift King himself. But yeah, it's great, man. And we don't know, and that's like you don't know until you try it, right?
God damn it, Drex, we're going into another topic.
I know, goddamn. All right, yeah, we're finally getting the fuck out of here, man. Thanks again, Ken. Thanks everybody for listening. I'm fucking out of here to go eat.
Stay frosty, everyone.
Peace.